What's up guys, welcome to TED Talks FPL. This series is called Beat the Bandwagon, where I go through some of the most transferred in players in the current game week to see which bandwagons are best and which are perhaps just too knee-jerk. Top of the list on the Fantasy Premier League website for transfers in the current game week is Lucas Moura. Fresh off a hat-trick against Huddersfield, he's had 97,000 transfers in this game week. 4 goals and 0 assists in the last 6 games that he's made an appearance. In those games he's only averaged 43 minutes per game, but with Harry Kane and another few injury doubts for Spurs, is he going to start playing more minutes? He's starting tonight against City in the Champions League and has a double game week of Man City away and Brighton at home in game week 35. Callum Wilson is next on the list with 73,000 transfers in the current game week. He's a potential replacement for Troy Deeney with 3 goals and 3 assists in the last 6 that he's made an appearance. In those games he's averaged 86 minutes per game, which shows that he's almost guaranteed to get nearly a full game barring injury. While others have got double game weeks, Bournemouth have Fulham at home, which is a really tasty fixture. So is Callum Wilson too good to ignore? Next we have Raul Jimenez for Wolves and Sergio Aguero, but I won't go through those because we all know what their fantastic fantasy appeal is. So I'll move next to Nathan Redmond for Saints. He's got 54,000 transfers in the current game week, fresh off his 2-goal haul at the weekend. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists in the last 6 that he's made an appearance. In those games he's averaged close to 90 minutes, again another sure starter and full game player that we can count on. Saints have Newcastle and Watford away in the double game week, which are really good fixtures on paper, but is Redmond's purple patch likely to continue? Next on the list is Sterling and Son, but we'll skip past those because we know their fantastic fantasy appeal. We'll move on to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who has been wandering in the wilderness recently with a lack of minutes and a lack of starts. He has 46,000 transfers in this game week, fresh off a goal against Watford on Monday. He has 3 goals and 1 assist in the last 6 that he made an appearance in. Impressively, he's only managed 3 starts and averaged 57 minutes whilst achieving these and clocking up some impressive underlying stats. Aubameyang had a great end to the season last season. Is he about to do it again? Further down the list we have Paul Pogba after his 2 goals from the penalty spot at the weekend. He's got 2 goals and an assist in the last 6, which includes those penalties, where he's played 90 minutes each game. A talisman in that United team, but is his fantasy appeal now becoming too dependent on penalties? Lastly, we have Andre Gray for Watford with 31,000 transfers in. He's got 1 goal and 2 assists in the last 6 that he made an appearance. He's averaged 47 minutes in those games, while Isaac Success, his main rival to his position, has managed just 1 start and 2 small sub-appearances in those 6 games. Watford had some tough fixtures in the last 6, playing Liverpool, Man City, Man United and Arsenal. Gray's last 3 games that he's returned in have been sandwiched in between those fixtures, implying that he tends to do well against the smaller teams. With Huddersfield and Saints to come in the double game week, does this mean points for Andre Gray? With Deeney still to appeal his red card against Arsenal, it makes sense to hold off on any transfers until that matter is settled. Let's take a look at some visual stats that determine whether these players are overperforming, underperforming or performing as expected. We'll start with goals in the last 6 matches. Threat points down the bottom, which is effectively number of shots these players have had. The dotted lines represent the typical level of chance they have on goal. The steeper the line, the better the chances. The large dots represent the players' actual goals scored in the last 6, while the smaller dots are what they would have been predicted to score with the combination of their threat point and typical level of chances. We can see the biggest overperformers are Lucas Moura, Callum Wilson and Paul Pogba, but arguably the latter, with penalties at his disposal, 2 goals is perhaps about right. Nathan Redmond and Andre Gray are scoring around the expected amount, while Aubameyang is the biggest underperformer. He has been delivering some fantastic underlying stats, even under limited minutes. Although he carries a larger price tag and a rotation risk, he is head and shoulders above these other options. If we ignore the larger dots or the actual goals scored and focus on the predictions, Wilson seems to be the best option, being assured of minutes and with his forecasted goal output higher than the rest. Lucas Moura is likely to fall back to planet Earth after his wonderful hat-trick against Huddersfield, the worst team in the league. Be careful about sideways moves too. Son, Eriksen and Ali are still excellent options in that Spurs team. Redmond's only away goals this season have come against Huddersfield in game week 18 and Burnley in game week 25, so does that suggest we should be wary of his double game week potential, considering both fixtures are away? Or does that fact mean that his confidence must be high from his brace at the weekend? Does that still make him a decent fantasy option? Let's move on to assists in the last 6 matches. Aubameyang, Pogba and Lucas Moura are assisting to around what we would expect it, even though the latter's assist potential is next to nothing. No underperformers here, but we have 2 large overperformers in Andre Gray and Callum Wilson. I would expect those assists to come down to the smaller dots, making both of their assist potential less appealing. Having said that, Wilson still seems to be the best option out of the budget options here, when considering his forecasted goals too. The question will be, does a double game week player like Andre Gray make a better Troy Deeney replacement than single game week player Callum Wilson, even though his stats are worse? I think it will be very close between them if Deeney is in fact banned. Nathan Redmond is also perhaps overperforming somewhat, but to a slightly lesser extent. For his budget price tag, I feel he represents an excellent double game week option if you are using your free transfer to upgrade the likes of Victor Camarasa from the last double game week perhaps. To summarise, I feel the best bandwagon here by some way is Aubameyang if you're prepared to spend the cash. Out of the Deeney replacements, I think both Andre Gray and Callum Wilson are viable options. The choice will depend on your budget. Nathan Redmond is a good budget option in midfield if you've got no serious issues to fix in your team. The likeliest bandwagons doomed to fail for me are perhaps Lucas Moura and Paul Pogba. Moura's hysteria is mainly centred around his hat-trick against Huddersfield. Not every game will be quite as easy as that, even if he manages to avoid rotation. Pogba's appeal is now mainly centred on penalties. Considering that he's just had 2 in one match, I would doubt that he's likely to get another very soon. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like or a comment. If you'd like to be updated with any content of mine coming out in the near future, you can follow me on Twitter at TEDTalksFPL and also subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, have a great game week, guys, and I'll catch you next time.